Welcome back to another episode of Off Script. I have my beautiful, lovely other half here, Dylan. And today we're going to talk about being a supportive partner. If you have one, what it looks like, what happens if you don't, all of the things in between. Dill, welcome back.
Wasn't expecting to be back so soon.
I dragged him in. I dragged you in.
You didn't drag me in.
I just think
if I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't be here.
I think that you have a unique perspective on things and people really liked listening to your episode. And I think the biggest reason I wanted to do this episode is because I have noticed and realized along the way that there are a lot of people who do not have support, whether that's from a partner, whether that's from family, friends. And I know that you are really supportive of me and vice versa.
Yeah, you're very supportive of me.
Yeah. And I think that that plays a huge part in getting to where we are. And I think what I want to get across in this episode is that if people have support, they've got family, they've got friends, supportive partner, that's awesome. But if you don't, like where that comes from, what you can do, and just, I don't know, maybe feel not so alone in wanting to do something different, because you and I we've always had really supportive people in our lives. Like your family, your friends have never not been supportive of you, and then we've been really supportive of each other. So if we started with what does support really look like, because we were talking about this before, from your perspective as a partner, and I think also just being a male, you've got a different perspective on things. What do you think it is to be a supportive partner? Like if you were to think of what's important for you to do from your perspective, if your other half wants to do a career change, wants to do something different.
I think it's like it's the backbone of every solid relationship, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you can't trust your other half to make it a potential life-changing decision for the both of you, then how committed are you to your relationship? I don't know, maybe that's a big question. It's arguably one of the most important things I'd suggest.
Yeah. Well, I think we were talking about this before, that the way when I tell people about you, oh my God, Dylan's so supportive, he's so wonderful, he's a unicorn, they blow you up because you do.
Which I don't understand. I don't get that. It's normal. It should be normal.
Yeah. It's not for a lot of people though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like there are people who...
And that makes me sad to hear that.
Yeah.
Because me and my mates, we don't talk about our relationships in any sort of detail whatsoever. It might be like, I don't know, my mate Mark had their third child not too long ago and it was like, oh, we had another baby. I'm like, oh, sweet, man. And that's like the extent of...
That is so different.
How our male minds work when we're together. We're talking about horses and beers and sport. That's about it. So honestly, it shocked me when you said that people put us in this bubble
on a
of
pedestal of they do, because and I'm not saying that we're like a complete outsider compared to most couples. I think that there are a lot of people who have a similar dynamic, good communication, they're working towards things. But I also think that there are a huge amount of people that don't. So when I was thinking of doing a total career change and something different, I'm interested actually on your perspective. Do you remember when I came to you and said that I was going to join She Sells?
You had your call with Elise.
Yeah.
You gave her what we now know as a partner objection, but it wasn't a partner objection at all, and I'm not sure what you said to her on the call, but it was more of from my perspective, it was more of like a respect thing for you to just more tell me what you were going to do, not ask for my permission. So they're two very, very different things. Yeah. And of course I was going to say yes. Who am I to tell you can't do that with your life? Like it's your life. Yeah, we're together. And it was going to have some sort of impact on our relationship, but I'm not the one to tell you can't do that. Yeah, you can't quit your job as a teacher and do a full 360 and try something new.
Yeah, I think our situation is unique in that I know that speaking to a lot of women who have joined She Sells, or maybe they're thinking of starting a business completely outside of sales, sometimes a lot of people will say, well, it's a big risk that we can't afford to do. And you and I were in a situation where there's obviously a time where we could only go a certain amount of time before I don't make any money, and then that becomes an issue. But I think we were blessed in that we've been able to sacrifice that transition period to be able to make it work. And I wonder, do you feel like you would have had a different perspective on things if it was more risky when it came to the money? Like if it was more of a, if I don't make money within the first month, we're going to be behind sort of thing. Do you think it would be different?
No, I don't think it would be different. Going back to what we spoke about on episode 3, about having a backup plan.
Yeah.
We've always had a backup plan. So no, I don't think it would have been different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some people who, when they'll say to their partner or even just family, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, particularly when there's a large investment involved, they will project their fear onto them and they'll be like, oh, I don't know, that's a bit risky, that's a bit scary.
Yeah. And that energy is contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big time.
Absolutely. I was actually talking about that with some of the girls yesterday, in that when people put things on you, it's easier for you to believe them and allow them to grow, and you believe it more so. You know, like if someone's constantly telling you something about yourself or constantly putting you down or constantly building you up, whatever way it goes, then that's usually where your mind will always go to. And there's a lot of people that I know who have considered doing something but then will stop themselves because they're worried about what their friends and family and partners and that will think. So from your perspective, when you were thinking about changing and us moving up here, that was obviously an us decision, but how did you feel about it? Telling your friends, family, me?
No, I wasn't worried about it at all. I wasn't changing industries. I wasn't even really changing job roles. It was a promotion. So from that perspective, it was a no-brainer. And the risk that it wasn't going to work in my situation was almost non-existent.
Yeah.
The scariest part for us was moving away from family and that impact, as opposed to the impact on my job, because I wasn't leaving construction, mining and moving into hospitality or something completely different, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to compare what you've done to what I've done, because my change is insignificant.
What do you think has made it easy for you in our move? Because as much as you didn't change industries, you have gone from a job where you would see friends, family regularly. Yes, you were driving a long distance to do it, but you've moved interstate. You've now got a FIFO job. You don't see friends and family. What do you think has made it easy in that transition, or to have that transition?
You've made it easy. For a start, you were fishing for that response, weren't you?
I wasn't. Do you know what I was actually fishing for in that one? Was just like it's the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah, I actually, again, it's no different. I have a whole new set of mates out there at work, the same as what I had in the Hunter Valley. That is no different. Some of them are even the same people have moved up here as well.
Yeah.
And on the weekends, I still get to play my golf on a Saturday. I've met a couple of people through there. Mates from work also live close by. So I've just got maybe a slightly different friendship group. Again, it's not a huge change for me in terms of work or lifestyle. Yeah, it's quite low risk. But yeah, your change. What about your change? What was your biggest fear?
My biggest fear
In your career change?
in my career, Jesus. God, I've talked about this a lot on a few episodes. I don't think I've ever been scared of change, fearful of change. It more comes from an internal, what if I'm not good enough? What if I can't do it? It more comes from that sort of space. I think I have talked about this, that I am really blessed in that I've got you. We do have multiple backup plans, so to speak. So I would say that I'm quite lucky in being able to make this transition. If you weren't doing what you were doing, if you weren't the way that you are when it comes to support, when it comes to income, like, let's be honest, then I probably this situation would be a lot different. But what I would say is that when you're in a scenario of having to sink or swim, like if we had less of a backup plan, if this was more risky, then I'd have to make it work. Like this is who I was, how I went for coffee the other day with one of the girls, from She Sells. Yeah. There are some women in that community who are single mums who literally have to make it work. It's sink or swim. It's their income. That's it. And that's really scary. And I think that when you've got that sink or swim scenario where you have to make it work, you will.
You will. Yeah. Absolutely you will. I listened to another podcast and they talk about the grit and determination of the homeless people.
Yeah.
This might sound a bit morbid, but they find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
They're always wearing clothes.
Yeah.
They manage to drink enough water to survive. Like we can only go a couple of days without water.
Yeah.
They find a way to make it work. It may not be comfortable for them.
Yeah. But you have to.
To survive.
Yeah.
So and the same principle applies in this situation as in your friend's situation as well. Yeah.
And I think what I've noticed is that there are a lot of people who are in this awkward middle of things are okay. So they're not in a scenario of sink or swim, like life or death, like homeless people, but they're not extremely happy. They're not completely fulfilled.
They're in purgatory.
Okay.
They're just sort of in no man's land,
Literally.
going with the flow.
Yeah.
Stuck in the 9 to 5 cycle.
Yeah. Status quo kind of, but they're not happy. That's the thing, is that there's some people who are happy as Larry in that situation. I love that. That's fantastic. But when you're in this awkward middle ground, there's not usually a whole heap that's motivating you to do anything. I almost think that would be worse, because when you've got a scenario where you have to make something work, you will. Otherwise, there's real dire consequences. Whereas if you're in this awkward middle ground of like, meh, then you kind of just skate on by. And it's sort of like death by 1,000 cuts. You don't really notice until the 1,000th cut has hit and you're done.
Yep, for sure.
So a lot of my listeners are female. There are some males thrown in there. I think you've brought in a couple from your neck of the woods. There are people listening who have come across me because they like the idea of doing something different. It's not necessarily going into sales. It's just they're kind of in that middle awkward, mundane, and they're thinking about doing something different. And they may not have supportive partners. What's some advice for their partners? The people in their lives? Because coming from you, who like it, to you it's just normal. You're like, that makes sense. Why would you not be supportive? What would you say to them?
Be better. Be better. Like I said at the start, if you're not supporting your partner, then what's the point? That's my take on things. A lot of blokes might not like to hear this, and I think the caliber of bloke that would listen to this podcast as well would support their family. That's my advice.
What if some people think that supporting their partner is by holding them back from doing things and they don't realize? I'll give you an example. So if someone comes to their partner and says, I want to start a business and we need to get a business loan and it's going to cost us this much, and it's, some people will genuinely think that they're helping their partner by saying, oh, you know what? It's actually pretty risky. The ROI for that is X. We're going to have to sacrifice Y, and give them all the reasons why it's more than likely not going to work out, because a lot of businesses don't. And they think that they're being supportive by telling them all the ways it could go wrong and saving them from having to go through that.
Yeah, that's a mindset thing though, right? That's not because they think they're doing the right thing, I suppose. That's an ingrained mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they think they're doing the right thing. So it's hard to tell them that they're not.
Yeah. Well, and this is where it's a perspective shift for people, because naturally we will always go to worst case scenario. It's ingrained in us as humans to seek safety and all of that. And so we say to women in sales, or we learn that when we're speaking to people who have that mindset of worst case scenario is, okay, well, what is the possibility if it does work? What happens if this does all
take the
go
glass
to plan?
half full approach.
Exactly, yeah. Like you had said in earlier episodes.
Yeah.
Because if you consider what happens if everything goes right and the mindset of everything going right, then what happens then? Yeah, you're exactly right. It is. It's a mindset thing.
Even you could go as far back as like it's the whole men versus women thing. Like we're meant to be the providers and you're meant to raise the families. So maybe in some situations it could be like an insecurity thing for the males as well, where it's like my partner can't do that. She can't earn more money than me.
Yeah, it's an
and be the
ego
breadwinner.
thing.
So it could be like an ego thing as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
That's so true. I didn't consider that. Yeah, I think men to feel masculine is being a provider. But I think in the same breath, you can still be a provider and still have that kind of masculine role in a relationship, but still allow and have space.
Still allow your partner to do what makes them happy.
Yeah.
And if that means in turn they end up being the breadwinner, then who cares, man? You're all good.
You're just gonna buy more TVs and golf clubs.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's a good perspective to have. And I think there is a lot of people who just don't have that and understanding where it comes from. And I'm glad you said that it's usually a mindset thing. It's coming from a place of fear and worry. But like you said, glass half full. And if you don't have a crack, if you don't give something a go, you're never going to know anyway. All right. So last question. You gave some advice on what partners need to do. They just need to be better. What advice would you have for people who are thinking about doing something different? They have a dream. They want to start a business. They want to get out of what they're doing, but they don't have support. What would you say to them?
My advice to people is have crack. Yeah. Have a crack, have a fallback plan, but don't be afraid. What's the worst that could happen is you go back to doing what you're doing before.
What about if they have someone who's like, that's not going to work? Why would you do that? That's risky.
Find a new partner. You should be at a point where you can sit down and have a mature adult conversation about it. And like I mentioned before, weigh up the cons, but weigh up the pros as well. Like who knows? You could leave Newcastle and move to the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
It's better up here.
You're trying to recruit more people.
Yeah. Just back yourself. And if you're not getting the support that you need, then fuck that. Don't even worry about it. If you feel like it's the right thing to do, just do it.
Trust your intuition.
Yep. Yep. What's your advice to people who want to make a change but have a fear and a complete lack of support?
Just like you said, in have a crack, where that comes from is like self-belief. Back yourself first. Be your own biggest support. And then if you have people around you who are not supporting you, like understand where that comes from first. And if you don't understand where that comes from, I'll tell you, it comes from fear. It's kind of what we talked about before. It is their fear of something not working out for you. And it always comes from a place of love. Like it usually doesn't come from a place of wanting to be controlling. And if it does, then that's an issue. And probably need to ask for help on that one. But it always comes from a place of love. And so people have to back themselves first. But then the only thing they need to ask of the people around them is to do the same, is to back them. So like if I had come to you and said, hey, I really want to do this thing, and you were like, oh, no, it's not going to work out, it's scary, I would just say to you, I don't need you to believe in what I'm doing. I don't need to convince you of the pathway that I'm going and that you have to think that it's going to work, but you just need to back me. So my advice would be, 1, back yourself. 2, you probably don't even need to tell people what you're doing and try to convince them. No one's ever going to see your vision just like you do. So then all you need to say to them, and say it with fucking conviction, you just need to back me. That's it. I don't need you to know the ins and outs. I don't need you to think it's going to work. I just need you to back me and trust me. And then just start surrounding yourself with people who are going to build you up. Because I know there are people who have done things behind their partner's back because they know their partner is just going to not agree. And I mean, to me, I think you need to, like you said, have an adult conversation. open up lines of communication. And if you don't, then that's something to work on. But yeah, like believe in yourself, tell people they just need to back you, and then surround yourself with people who are doing the same sort of thing. Like pull belief from other people. The biggest thing that I have learned and why I've been so successful in what I've been doing is I have you, but I've also joined a community of women who are all doing the same thing. They're all wanting better. The coaches in the community, you know, I pull from their belief, but then also like I've surrounded myself, and we've surrounded ourselves with people up here who are supportive and are not the kind of people that if we tell them we've got this new thing that we're doing, they're going to shut it down. So I've surrounded myself with people who are, you know, all the walk, talk and work girls, people that I'm interviewing and bringing on here. So that would be my advice to them.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, we don't associate with that type of person.
No.
So yeah, we're quite lucky in that sense that doesn't matter who we talk to about any decision we've made. Like I mentioned before, friends, family, when we told them we were moving up here, every single one of them was like, fuck yeah.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
We'll come visit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Come on up.
I honestly don't. Like our perspective is we come from a very supportive family and background. Yeah. So I can't sit here and say I know how it feels to be in the position of having really unsupportive people. I can imagine that it would be really hard. It would feel really uncomfortable. But like we always come back to, what's worse? What is worse? Continuing doing what you're doing now, or pushing back and just saying fuck you to people who have got, you know, that's their own problem too. Like if I think about all your family and your friends, they're all the most wonderful, amazing, beautiful people. So of course that was going to be their response because they don't have their own internal shit going on that they're projecting.
I'm sitting it because like it baffles me as to, in general, why people don't think the same way that
that you do.
I think. That's in everything.
Can I give an example? I have to.
Driving cars.
God forbid there's other people on the road.
No one else should be on the road. You know what I think people would be
really shocked to learn about you is people probably watch you on this podcast and listen to you and they're like, Dylan's just so cool, calm and collected.
Yeah.
Get him in the car and have anyone in the right-hand lane in front of him. You know what?
5Ks under the speed limit. Don't sit in the right-hand lane under the speed limit.
It's not even people who are doing under the speed limit. It's just other people in general that exist.
Yeah.
If other people are on the road, why? Why do people exist in this world?
I'm glad you do your groceries on a Monday when I'm at work. Anyway, I've got one last comment, and it's because it, like I said, it baffles me as to how people their brains don't work the same way as ours.
Yeah.
So, and you talk to people on a daily basis through your job. How often do you come across one partner when you're on a call doing what you do now who's supportive of the product and another partner who isn't?
There is always one is the action taker, wants to do it, and the other partner is then brought into it. So the business that I work for now, context, is I do speak to couples. I'm not speaking to one person when it comes to the service that we're offering. And it's always one person will be the one who clicks on the ad, puts in the information. It's more so, are they on the same page with wanting the same thing in terms of what we offer? And most of them are on the same page in terms of what they offer. But when it comes to people actually being on the same wavelength, when it comes to decision-making, supporting each other, it's not really that kind of an account where you need one to support the other. They both need to be on board for the decision making. And with the product and the service, it's usually a no-brainer that eventually once they realize what we can do for them, they're both on board. I have had scenarios where I've gotten two people on the call and the other person has had no idea what it's about and they are not on the same page and they have just had an argument before they've gotten on the call. And I've had a few of those, and that's becoming more and more prevalent in that they're both not on the same page. Where I would say there's more evidence of like the other person not supporting was when I had my first account that I worked on, because that was a career change. That was people doing something completely different. And there is a large majority of people whose partner is not supportive, and it usually comes from a place of fear. So I would have to coach people through that conversation and say to them, you don't need to convince them of this product or this service or what you're doing. You don't have to try to sell them what you're doing. You are asking them to back you. I would say I wouldn't even say an even spread. I'd say there's more people fearful than there are people supportive.
See that? Yeah, that's bizarre. Totally bizarre. Because the conversation you and I had when you made the change was like, hey, I'm going to spend this much money on this and this is what I'm going to do. And I was like, sweet. Thanks for letting me know. Away you go.
Yeah.
Like, well, you weren't asking permission.
No.
It was, yeah.
I think that's worth noting too, because I was saying to this before, that when you work in sales, there's all these sales gurus out there that talk about the perfect way to handle a partner objection. So when you've got someone on a call with you and they're saying, oh, I just need to talk to my partner before making a decision, that usually that's just a smokescreen. It's not actually that they need to talk to their partner. It's that they're scared. They want to ask their partner, what should I do? They need someone else to help them make a decision. And it's about getting them to a place of them feeling like they can make a decision without needing anybody else's input. But what I've come to learn is that there are sometimes when people give you a partner objection, it's legitimate. It's like, hey, this is a $5, $10, $15, $20,000 commitment. I actually just want to let them know.
Run it by them.
Yeah, run it by them and just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. So I think that there are people who will give you a genuine partner objection of like, hey, I'm not actually going to fully commit to this because it's a financial decision that we need to at least be on the same page with. So yeah, I'm a little bit torn on that one because yeah, you'll have all these people out there who come up with all of these analogies to basically get you to a point of, okay, well, you can make a decision without your partner, which you can. But yeah, I think there's space where it makes sense to just let your partner know, hey, I'm doing this. And you know what? For some people, making that commitment, that big of a commitment, it might not be affordable for some people. But if it's something that someone really wants to do, like find a way to make it work.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. Yeah. You'll make it work.
Get resourceful.
Yeah.
Find a way to make it work. And I'm not talking about putting yourself in a shit ton of debt where you go backwards and you can't eat for a few weeks like that. I mean, that's a little bit different. But yeah, like find a way to make it work. Get resourceful.
I'm going to go buy myself a new set of golf clubs. Do you support?
You've got 2 in this house at the moment.
Yeah, there's room for more.
Did you deliberately say this at the end?
No, I just
Do you actually need?
I do need to replace the shafts in my irons. Yeah.
I have no idea what that means. Go on, darling. We're putting a pool in the backyard.
Yeah.
And new shafts. Shafts?
Shafts.
Oh, okay.
In my irons.
Okay. Well, now I want to say that I need something. What do I need?
I'll support you either way, whatever it is.
Stay tuned for whatever that is. You're funny. Thanks for coming on again, darling.
No, that's all right. It was good. It's good fun.
It was great.
It's been great listening to.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm
I
glad.
put it on when I'm at work.
What, just your episode or?
Yeah, I just listen to that on repeat to get the numbers up so it's the most listened to.
It's second most listened to, so it's getting there.
If you haven't listened to episode 3 yet, go and listen to episode 3.
It's not episode 3. It's episode
4.
Thanks, honey.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Keep doing what you're doing. This is great.
Oh,
And
thanks.
like we said at the start, it's, yeah, if this podcast can change one person's life, then it's a success.
Yeah.
You didn't set out to achieve anything by doing this, and you're certainly not making any money.
When you start hearing ads, that's when I've started to make money. But that's not the goal.
The goal is just to help people, and that's the underlying thing that you take throughout your whole life in everything that you do is helping people.
Yeah.
Whether you're teaching 6-year-olds or helping people navigate a career change.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, baby. That's what I set out to do, and I think that's a big reason I put it in my speech the other night at the gala, is because That's what I've noticed in this transition. What I am realizing and the feedback that I get from people is that I have an opportunity to create impact, to inspire people. People resonate with things that I say and things that I do. And I think that there's a responsibility that comes with that, because not everybody has that. And I think, well, if that's what people are telling me, then great. And if people listen to this and they end up making a change for the better, then
breaking up with their shitty, unsupportive partner.
yeah, I wonder if that's going to trigger anything. I don't know if breakup is like the first. Just communicate first, and then
And if they still don't get it,
then leave. All right.
see you next time.
See you next time.